Okay, so next one, find the tallest animal. Okay, so we are given a list of heights of animals and names of animals. So a cow is 1.5 meter high, a horse is 1.6, a giraffe is 5.5 meters, and so on and so forth, I guess. And then we're given a threshold value, so that would be 2. And then what we are doing is that we are saying, okay, we're looking at all the animals that's lower than the threshold, strictly lower than the threshold. We, within that smaller list of animals, we want to find the tallest one, and then we want this function to return the name of the tallest one. So it's slightly complicated to keep in mind what this function is doing, but it is something that's quite similar to what we did before. But before we just had this heights list and a threshold, and then we found the maximum height in the heights that was lower than the threshold. Here we need to use that to also get the corresponding element in the names list. So it's like we find a value from this list, and then we want to find the corresponding element from the other list. Okay, so let's try to solve that. So I'm just going to take the example, and then I'm going to go to the file. So I go to Explore, Condition Maximum. Then I'm going to remove my previous example because it's no longer relevant. Insert this new example, and then this is the function I want to implement. So maybe I print it out. Tallest animal lower than threshold. I'm spelling really poorly, but it's late. And that's what this function is supposed to tell me. So how do we start by doing that? Well, here's the function. I'm just going to start with a print statement because I want to insert a breakpoint. Okay, so I explained in the earlier video how you insert breakpoints and start the debugger, but just really basically, I go up here, I select debug Python file, and that means that the file is going to start and run until it hits the first breakpoint. And now Python has stopped. It executes the file as normally, but the moment it reaches a line where it has this little red squiggly thing in the margin, Python will stop, and I can interact with the state the program is in. So I can see that I called condition maximum given the heights and given the names, heights, names, and 2, and now I can see that in fact the first input argument is equal to the heights, the second argument is equal to the names, and the third argument is indeed equal to the threshold. So it's like it has really stopped in the state the program this function is in. Okay, so we're supposed to use some tricks from the previous exercise. So what I can do here is that I can use the function that I already wrote. So I'm just going to copy paste in the function, and then I'm going to give it the list of heights, and I'm going to give it the threshold like this. So that's called, I'll define something that I called max height like this. So this variable is just using the function that I wrote before, and that's going to return the element of this list, which is the largest element lower than the threshold. So just to confirm that, I'm going to take and select the lines, copy paste them into the debug console, and run it. And now I can indeed see that max height is equal to this value. Okay, so that got me some of the way, right? I know that this is the height I'm interested in, but now I need to go from this value 1.6 to horse. And the problem is that I don't really, I just know it's 1.6. I don't really know it's the element number 1 in this list here. So how do I figure that out? What I can do is that I can use the index function. And now we get to one of the things you just need to know from the book. Because there is a function called index for all lists, and that function will actually allow me to get the index of a given value. So in this case I ask it what's the index of 3.0, and it says that this value has 3.0, and that happens to be on element number 0, 1, 2, 3. So maybe let me try a different number, because 3 was like a little bit strange because it got the same value. But if I try 1.4, that would be this element. It's going to say, okay, that was at element number 6. So you can sort of confirm that it does indeed add up. So this is like a way of going from a value of a list to the index in the list where that value is contained. But now when I have that like index, I can do a lookup in the names variables, right? So I have my names here, then I can check what is the name of the animal with index 6. That's a deer. So it was this one, it's at index 6, and the 6th element is deer. So I can put these two ideas together. I get the index, and then I do a lookup in the names list like this. And this is how I can do it in a single line if I wanted to. So now all I need to do is that I need to remember that I had actually solved most of the problem, because I got this max height variable. That was the height of the animal which satisfied my property, so 1.6 in this case. We can just confirm that, yeah, it does indeed have the value 1.6. So what I can do is that I can just check that it does indeed work. Like if I know what is 1.6, I can use this line to look up, okay, it's horse. So putting that together, I'm just going to put in max height here. Oops, forgot to, sorry, typo. I do this, and now I have everything in a single line. So this line is kind of important, so I'm going to copy paste it out. That's going to give me the name of the animal, max height name. So that's going to give me this value, and then I can just return it like this. By the way, what I did there, when I say return and then I start typing and it offers me some suggestions, what I need to do is I use the arrow keys to go up and down. I select it and then I press tab, and that auto completes. Okay, so that actually looks like a solution for this problem. So I just remove my breakpoints. I'm sort of done messing around in the program. I press stop, and now I can just confirm that it works. I just run it in the debugger because it does the same thing as running it normally when I don't have any breakpoints. So in this case I can see that the tallest animal lower than the threshold was horse, and that was what I wanted it to be in this case. So the next example here is 3, and that would be a dinosaur. Let's just check that that actually works before we proceed. It does, and that makes me confident that I can start running the tests. So this was the function that failed. Let me just rerun it. Rerun the test, and now the test works. So we're on the right track here. Okay, so that was that exercise.